You thought I was joking when I said I had a copy of the training manual. Let me take you to ICE training manual. Yeah, I got a copy of it. And this right here is a photo of ICE jacket. That's police. That's part of it. It's called ruse. Ruse? What is a ruse? Ruse is lie. That is what they train them to do. Essentially, they have to use deception and deceit to get access to people's home. Now, remember the movie Sinners? And there's a famous scene when Rennick and the other two vampires are trying to get into a home, but they have to be invited in. That's part of vampire lore. Vampire lore is like you can't cross the threshold unless you're invited in. Similar situation. Think of these guys as blood-sucking vampires. Anyway, let's go through some other training that the Immigration Project were able to get via Freedom of Information Act request. So let's go inside to see the type of lies they tell to get access to people when they're trying to detain them, shall we? Let's go. You thought I was joking when I said I had a copy of the training manual. This is it. First, you should know, and this is from the Immigration Defense Project, and ruses essentially are ways that they try to control the conversation and confuse people about their goals to make them feel safe and make it feel necessary to let them inside your home. Yeah? First of all, you should also know that a lot of times when they're around your house, they're doing surveillance. You may see ICE like just lurking. They can peer inside your home publicly. So from the sidewalk, they can go inside. They can use binoculars, though you have a reasonable expectation of privacy inside your home. So that's a little bit suspect. They can use flashlights and then talk to your neighbors. Let me get back to real world. You ever know when you're pulled over by a car at night by a cop, and the cop takes a flashlight and peers inside your flashlight? Because even though you have a reasonable expectation of privacy inside your car, once people can see it from the outside, you don't have an expectation of privacy of what people can see outside. But if you put something in your glove compartment box, you put it inside your little center console, underneath your seat, obviously, because you put it in those places, you don't want people to see it. But once anything is left outside, you lose the privacy expectation because anybody walking by can see it. So that's why at nighttime, the officer takes a flashlight and flashes inside your car so you can see what you got in there. And they see contraband. That gives them probable cause. And now they can let you out. Now they can search every single thing in. And if they taking your car in because they suspect something or they're going to impound your car, there's an impoundment exception. So now, because they're taking your vehicle into the police lot, they now can go into your glove compartment box because they don't know what's in there, and they don't know what's inside the trunk, and they got to keep the police station safe. So they get to go inside your trunk and go inside your glove compartment box. But all started with a stop, a flashlight, detect something that looks like some sort of contraband. Now I take you out. Now search the vehicle. Now it looks like you're drunk. Now it looks like I gotta take you in. If I gotta take you in, I gotta take in your car. Once I gotta take in your car, I can get into your glove compartment box and I can get into your trunk without a warrant. Anyway, that's an aside. I digress. Let's get back to ICE. So here's from the ICE manual. They tell them to identify themselves as police. Remember earlier when I showed you that vest? This is police. It's to confuse people. They say to establish credibility, build a rapport, ask for consent to just go look around. So, no, you can't look around. Here's other ways they use ruses. They say take a van, alter it, make sure it doesn't look obviously like a government transport vehicle. You might have seen these vans. You might have just seen, carrying around a clipboard in a box. That's to make you believe that perhaps it's not ICE, but it's some sort of, utility truck or someone coming in to inspect your house. So they're not allowed to pretend like they're FedEx or UPS, and they can't pretend they're a government agency, but they can make you believe that is so, right? Here's an example of some ruses that have worked. An ICE agent called the person's mother on the cell phone, pretending to be NYPD, and saying that they need this person, their target, to come to the precinct just to look around, right? Because they feel like, there's an accident that someone's been involved in, and the moms calls and say, hey, there was an accident. You have to go in there and, give some evidence or something. The cops called you. But again, when the agents call the mom, they never mention the fact that they were police. And that happened in 2000. Here's one when the ICE agent came in with wearing pants splattered with paint. to pretend like, oh, we have a job. I'm a home inspector. I know such and such does odd jobs or whatever, whatever. We're looking for somebody to actually do a job with us. And would you be interested in it? And then they arrested the person. So go to immigratindefenseproject.org. That's where I found some of those, and you'll get some examples of ruses. And yeah, so you just have to be in your P's and Q's and mind them and say, yeah, you have to be vigilant yourself. And this is not me trying to protect people who are harmful. It's me trying to protect people. A lot of times we see that the folks that they're attacking and they're looking for aren't criminals. We've seen time and time again. They try to change the laws. There have been people who maybe perhaps enter the country unlawfully, and at some point they adjust status. At some point they present themselves to the immigration court, and the immigration court's aware of them and say, okay, well, you now have temporary protected status, so check in once in a while and we keep up with you. So they're arresting people and they're identifying people who once came in, who are now in the system, and they're tracking them, and they're deporting those people who are going through the process, who have active asylum cases, active TPS states cases, and they're going to look for those people. And I've seen too many cases. I'm JJ Legal. I'm in the docket. I've seen many cases of them arresting people, and if you follow me, I have so many of them on my account. I think one of these days I'll put them in a playlist, but in a playlist of people who are going through the process. They're in line. They are, decent human beings. They've been working here, no criminal history. ICE, Department of Homeland Security's own website, says something like 65 to 75% of the people in detention have no criminal background. So they're not getting the worst of the worst. It's an absolute lie. I'm not saying that they haven't arrested or deported people who are violent. Yes, that's true. Or who have criminal background history. Yes. But they also arrested people who perhaps committed a crime, a modest crime, maybe even just a paperwork crime of being undocumented or coming back to the country, which is not a violent crime, or perhaps a possession crime a long time ago. They served their time. It was dismissed. They're deporting people based on stuff like that. So yeah, so it's not the stacks, the cards are not stacked in the favor of the people they're going after. And I'm looking out for the folks who are decent folks who've been living here all their lives and perhaps just not really bothering anybody. Not necessarily the worst of the worst. If it's the worst of the worst, yes, but not these folks that they're going after are not the worst of the worst. So I hope that information helps you. JJ Legal, each one teach one. Share this video so more people know.